If you had to put a top 5 together, who would your top 5 be?
Oh, okay. Let's put together a little top 5. Top 5 most anticipated debuts, we'll say since 2000.
Okay.
So I'll go number 5, Shohei. Because Shohei came over, didn't go through a minor league sort of situation, but did come over with a ton of hype. Because all we were hearing is there's this guy that plays in Japan, that a two-way player that throws 100 miles an hour and can hit 500-foot homers. So naturally, that creates a lot of hype. And then he comes over to spring training, and it wasn't the best spring training in the world, but just to see a guy pitching and hitting, there was a ton of hype around Shohei. So I'll have him at number 5.
Okay.
And then I'll put Jackson Holliday in at number 4. I do think the hype was there. The number 1 overall pick, the son of Matt Holliday, the stats that he put together in his minor league career were nothing short of remarkable. The guy hit 350 in his minor league career, had an on-base percentage of almost 470. Those are Ted Williams like numbers. I mean, his minor league career numbers were almost unfathomable.
Try again. Yep.
That's a tough word to say.
You chose it.
I did. I knew I wanted to say it, and I knew it was going to be a tough one to say, but I still went with it. So all of that combined, and then you start saying, okay, well, when are you going to call him up? And then it's, well, the kid's 19 years old. Can you call him up? They didn't end up doing it last year, and this is all building up the hype. And then you get to spring training, and it's like, this is the number 1 prospect in all of baseball. He is 20 years old now, and he has a chance to make the team. So a lot of eyes were on him in spring training, and he did absolutely nothing but build that hype even more and more and more. And then he makes his debut. He gets that call up, and I do think since 2000, Jackson Holliday is certainly a top 5 most anticipated debut. So he'll be number 4 on my list also.
Okay, so you still have mentioned Bryce Harper, so there's 2 more. What's the top 3?
My 3, I'm going to go with Mark Prior. Mark Prior's debut was one that it was one of the more anticipated pitching call-ups of all time, if we're being honest. He was the consensus top player in the 2001 draft, ended up going number 2 behind Hall of Famer Joe Mauer. Pretty good name if you ask me. And then he signed for a record $10.5 million, which is the highest of all time until Steven Strasburg ended up breaking that. And then in his minor league career, it was a very, very short stint in the minor leagues, made 9 minor league starts, made his debut in 2002 at 21 years old, and he struck out 10 Pirates in 6 innings, picking up the win. So everything that I've never seen a more highly touted up to that point, and I know I was only 10, but I hadn't seen a more highly touted pitching prospect than him. A guy that came out of USC, his junior year at USC was 15-1 with a 1.69 ERA and 202 strikeouts in 138 innings. Remarkable. The hype was there, and this was really the fact that he had that much hype really social media and the buzz you can get there is remarkable. So I have Mark Prior at number 2.
Okay, so when I asked you to fill in the blank of Jackson Holliday's debut as the biggest sense, you said Bryce Harper. So we got 2 left. Is he 1 or 2?
Bryce Harper is going to be number 2.
Okay.
So Bryce Harper, again, cover of Sports Illustrated. Sports Illustrated called him the chosen one, by the way. And his whole story was something that we all knew by the time he got drafted. He was a guy that left high school, dropped out of high school, got his GED his junior year. Then he went to a junior college in Nevada as a catcher, used a wood bat at this junior college, and then went on to just hit 31 homers, had 98 RBIs in 66 games. 31 homers. Won the Golden Spikes Award at a junior college. It only happened once before ever. No junior college players are winning the Golden Spikes Award. So then he's drafted in 2010 by the Nationals, draft him 1st overall, signs for $9.9 million, a 5-year deal in the final minute of the deadline, if you guys remember that. And then in 2012, makes that debut at 19 years old. Imagine all of that. Imagine dropping out of high school
Yeah, that's crazy.
To pursue your dream of being a baseball player, dropping out of high school, getting your GED, going to a junior college, using a wood bat, winning the award for best college baseball player out in the country, then getting drafted first overall, and then getting called up at 19 years old. That is so much hype to try and live up to. And all he's done is gone on to win 2 MVPs, had some of the most clutch home runs in the history of the Nationals and the Phillies. We've seen a couple in person during their playoff runs. I think for in terms of some of the most hyped debuts ever, I know we're talking here since 2000, but it's tough to beat Bryce Harper.
Okay. Who's
and
number
to
one?
me, there is only one name that does beat him, and it is Steven Strasburg. All of the hype there coming out of San Diego State, the numbers he put up, 13-1, a 1.32 ERA in college, through 100. Now we're talking when he was drafted in 2009, again, a last-minute deal, last-second sign, but this is when we're talking, well, social media has a little more play in the world at this point. You're starting to see videos of Steven Strasburg in college and starting to see videos of Steven Strasburg shooting up the system. And you're starting to hear words of this guy's throwing over 100 miles an hour as a starter. And I just feel like when he came up to finally make his debut, after announcing that he needed Tommy John, and then his first rehab start didn't come until 2011. Then he was on an innings limit. Steven Strasburg's debut against the Pittsburgh Pirates was, for me, and I think many other people out there, especially with my age, a moment where it was, where were you when? And maybe for me, it's just because I was at my high school beach week and we were all partying. By the way.
Big memory.
First time I ever had a sip of alcohol in my entire life was at Beach Week. Maybe that's why I remember so. Maybe
Definitely.
they're synonymous. Was that week. And I do remember just sitting down, watching him, thinking this guy is going to be one of the greatest pitchers ever. And unfortunately, that is not able to come true because of the arm injuries and the nerve damage, and a lot of injuries came up. But you cannot for a single second argue the dominance and the hype that Steven Strasburg had coming up. And he did go on to win World Series MVP in 2019. And that, to me, sort of just felt like the swan song for Steven Strasburg. He gave every single ounce that his arm and his body had to go out there and pitch multiple times in that World Series. He went on to win World Series MVP. And unfortunately, we are never going to see him pitch again in the big leagues because he has retired due to all of these injuries. But man, oh man, that hype was on another level. Thanks for watching. If you love flipping bats, swinging 3-0, or just talking ball, join us. Call us at 213-537-9339 with your questions. We have a weekly guest, and we have a lot of fun, so hit that subscribe button.